Good morning. I was gonna start writing, and I got to thinking about like when you love someone in this world and yet the love isn't reciprocated. That can be a really hard thing. The thing is, it's easy to feel like you're worthless if someone else doesn't love you or doesn't act like they love you, because we can't always know what people are thinking. But we can see their actions, right? And so we see things like the non-involvement of somebody in one's life. I mean, this can go beyond relationships. This can be like, you know, your parents, your siblings. It really goes for any. It can go for any situation. But there's a processing that needs to happen. I think that's the one thing I've found here that really appeals to me to seek more to know about. Which is why I wouldn't mind studying more and more about counseling and nurturing one's own heart, teaching people how to nurture their own heart, and the profit being that I enjoy that kind of stuff. I mean, how many people are out there that just don't have anybody, right? And we all want to find something here that keeps us inspired. But it's like something you can't force. So, yeah, maybe not everybody is going to reciprocate your love. And when are we taught that as children too? Like, you know, we're taught don't take candy from strangers. We're taught things like that, but I think it's probably important to teach children that there's going to be things that you want that you can't have, and that goes with people. And just the idea of wanting someone is kind of weird, right? Because even if someone says they want to be with you, it doesn't necessarily mean that anything was really reciprocated. Only time and action can show if that's true, and with or without words, that involves a lot of trust and hope that may or may not come to type of fruition. So I I was just feeling and thinking these things this morning, and I think that so many of us deserve such a wonderful love. And yet, in order to even fathom love and dream love, you have to idealize it. You have to. Even if you think you're not, like, it's part of the mind that happens anyway. And that's probably another good reason why language is not sufficient when it comes to truth. Ultimate truth, you know. So, how do we deal with feeling unloved, being unloved in our mind, you know? You can even have children, and at a young age or at an older age, they may not act like they love you. How do you deal with people that you love who act like they don't love you? Be it children, your family, a romance. I think it's really important to consider this. And I think the first step, and this is without, you know, looking anything up or pondering in silence, like, I'm trying to discover this through the feelings of my heart and the words that I know. I think the first thing you'd start with is forgiving yourself. Though you could say, why the hell would you have to forgive yourself? Because what the hell did you do? But it just feels good, like taking all that self-expectancy for, I should do this, I should do that, what did I do or not do that could have changed things, that could have made things better. You know, I'm one of these people that my mother doesn't really talk to me, and you know, there's more to it than that. People end up making their decisions themselves, you know, and maybe she has a good reason for that. But to me, I feel like every mother should reach out to their children with their hearts. If not, you know, by calling and interacting, then probably by when those moments happen, because the kid comes to you or whatever, like, the thing is, we were created to be happy, you know, and sometimes it can seem like everybody else is so happy, and it can just feel like, well, what's wrong with me, you know? You know, that I can't seem to find these things that other people find, and there's a lot of reasons for that, I'm sure, but I think by starting with a type of self-love that forgives oneself for being imperfect is a good start, you know. It feels like it opens the heart and the mind. It's okay if you're not perfect. it's okay if you could have done more and didn't. Or if you just didn't see the big picture until it was too late. Whatever is the case. We are allowed to forgive ourselves. As a matter of fact, wouldn't to forgive yourself be even more honorable than praying to an invisible God that you can't see, that doesn't speak to you in words back? Like, I say that with all humblest respect, because I know in my heart, my belief is that God is real. And I think it would never hurt to tell him that you would like forgiveness for things you've done wrong. I see no problem with that. I think that the angels see everything, right? So, though we've learned it's by our blood that there is power. And I'm not really trying to get into that for now, but you can look up blood over intent. And you should. And don't be afraid. The Antichrist, Mark Braun, has the Spear of Destiny. And if you want to enter the Garden of Eden, you have to write, I intend to bring forth heaven on earth and release all from bondage, and put some of your blood on top of that, and upload it onto YouTube with something of the tag, title, and description, blood over intent. Really the point of this conversation is, at least for now, in looking at this kind of need for self-love, you have to forgive yourself. Even if you don't feel like you did anything, just a feeling of forgiving oneself creates an essence of self-acceptance. It's real easy in this world to tend to base your value on someone else's opinion. One of the main things that you learn in this world, once your eyes are opened by doing blood over intent, is you learn not to look outside for satisfaction, to go inside. And what I'm saying is, we were created by our Creator, so it worships our Creator to forgive ourselves. That is asking forgiveness to the Creator, not saying that we just are the Creator without Him. It's a contradiction, but it's also some part of the essence of reality. You don't need self-help books. You need to be guided in the right direction, so you learn to look within yourself, which first is blood over intent, and then after that you look inside. And I think when facing feelings of inferiority, worthlessness, these are real issues that humans face every day, and they have to be dealt with. And I think at least the doorway for walking through and handling those feelings is by forgiving yourself. Because of the realm we live in, where it's a now moment. You can't go back to the past. You can't go to the future. It's almost like a ride. You are in the moment you're in. You can't go back and you can't go forward. So ultimately, also we never know what good thing can happen in our lives. And if you have the loved ones you care about around you, you are rich and you have everything you need, for sure. And there's nothing wrong with wanting love. We were created, and biologically we are wired to procreate, and what's even better than that is a relationship where you can procreate, but you know there's like this, for me, eternal blood covenant. Like, I don't like to share my lover with anyone else, and I never will change on that. And so, for me, it's important that a lover feel the same, and to not get sidetracked. How does one really forgive themselves for what they did do, for what they didn't do? Because if you're like me, there's probably a long list on both sides. Because sometimes we just cannot have understanding until we look back, and then it's often too late. And if it's not, then that's just the grace of God, where He could see, and so He made sure to keep you okay. So I think that's kind of given me the answer, is that you can forgive yourself by being thankful and gracious in your thoughts when it comes to this. You know, the thing is, I think thankfulness gets overrated, and you have to hear me out. You know, we start to see all of these mushy things said, like, you know, if you just forgive, like you just, and it's like, well, how do you actually do that? For the longest time, you know, and remember when Anonymous came out and it was like, we don't forgive or forget. I thought that was really cool. You forgive yourself by stopping judging yourself on everything, you know. Maybe it was your fault, something went wrong. And now you know, and you can try better. That's forgiveness. Forgiveness is acceptance in that regard. Maybe you ruined something unintentionally. However, you accept that that's the way it is. You allow yourself to dream again. What is it that is most important to you? You know, maybe you like drawing and animation. Well, you could get inspired about studying that more. You know, anytime I think of jazz and coffee, it's like those two words are a trigger, and all words are little energy packs, you know, of some kind of trigger, I guess. But I have to intentionally, like, I write down a little list of things that make me happy, like babies make me happy. I mean, I find it amazing that in this world, it's such a beautiful world, and the souls are beautiful, and, you know, life is precious, you know, and then there's like these horrors all around. It's really scary, and I don't want to be scared, and I don't want anybody else to. So I was making this, you know, I'm not sure if it's even something I'll post. I just want anyone who hears anything I have to say to really, like, learn to accept themselves and forgive themselves. And there's also this bit that I'm thinking about, following your heart and your truth. It seems like our mind and our heart is often at war, if not all the time. And I just feel like ultimately you have to go with the heart. But it's like, what does the heart truly say? And sometimes if you're not quite sure how your heart feels, then we use the thoughts to weigh that, right? And to measure. But we have to be honest and real with ourselves and not just like conforming out of fear and things like that. We really have to stand in truth. What is really truth? And so that's something to consider as well. So, yeah, I just think that it's really important that we learn there's no self-help book in the world. And you could even say, well, aren't you giving some kind of help by saying what to do? I'm just kind of like guiding everyone to really go within. We're so dependent in this world on clothing and food. Maybe a lot of people don't see it that way because they have too much money, but the truth is you can start to feel worthless just from the fact that you're a human, It's a beautiful gift to be alive, and at the same time, we're just imperfect creatures. But then again, you'd have to philosophize what is the true meaning of perfection. What is it to be perfect? Does it even exist? And see, that goes back to the stuff I've been considering lately, is that perfection is holiness, right? And that sounds fucked up, but I mean more in a spiritual way. But if that's true, then only God is perfect, only God is holy, to me. Something like that must be up. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. I greatly wish to see the world look within and realize that we're all one, and that we are all special, while I follow my own truth as well. Forgive yourself, when you feel less than perfect in this world, as everyone is in the same situation. And it doesn't seem that way. This is a place of great illusion. Money can really give certain people this seeming perfect life. I mean, I'm sure countless number of people have lived wealthy, long, happy lives, and at the same extent, there's poor people who never tasted anything of that life, and I'm sure they both gained, gained things that the other will never know. So all I really mean to say is that there is a feeling of injustice and things not really being fair, but you have to look beyond the illusion, and whether you're alone or not, you have worth. You're precious, and that's why you have this birthright of everlasting life, to enter into the Garden of Eden in safety from the coming storm. And when I say the coming storm, the Bible talks about the lake of fire. So he promised to never flood the earth again, but it's going to be purified this time by a fire that cannot be consumed. I don't really fully understand what that would mean, but I don't want to be, without my Creator ever, and so you just post proof of life for that. So this is Rainbow. I've enjoyed this conversation. I'll see if I feel maybe to post this. You never know who it could affect. I literally mean that every person is precious, and I will continue to follow my truth and forgive myself for when I'm not perfect, and try to not create illusions of like, I can only be happy if this, or I can only be happy if that. Once you become your own source in connection to our Creator, you allow yourself to find whatever it is you need in store. There's not really anything anyone else can give you, until or if there's someone that is, that same thing, that is able to do the very same. There's always magical and mystical surprises in this realm. You just have to know that you are special, whether anyone acknowledges that shit or not. You are. You are. Am. That's the end of that story. So, kisses and hugs, eternal in truth.